What is up, everybody? Hockey fans across the world. It is the mailman, Jimmy Milstead, the commissioner of the league, Fantasy Hockey League. This is episode 12 of the Storks Desk. Or is it 13, Stork?
I think it's 13.
Crap. Episode 13. Yeah, I've done a couple of Commissioner's Corner, but it is Wednesday, TNT here in the States, hockey night, January 10th, 2024. And I'd like to wish a Happy New Year to my deputy, Kevin Stork. We haven't seen him since 2023. That was a long time ago. The last time we saw him was it was our fantasy hockey match, buddy. Who got the better of that one?
Oh, stop.
Yours truly, finally. But Deputy Kevin Stork, thanks for joining us on your show, buddy. How you doing? Leafs, I know, making you really happy lately. What's up, buddy?
Not too much, man. And enjoying the new year. Just had a birthday. I'm getting old. But I'm trying to recover from that bad Langley Scorpion week last week because losing to you makes me want to puke. But yeah, now I'm up against the defending champions, and I always seem to come to play against them. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this week, looking for a big W.
Yeah, indeed, Storky. I believe your all-time record against Mark Raymond are defending champs for the Stork Cup. DB Cooper, 3-1. You lead that series all time.
Yeah, he's out to get me. I know that.
Recently
he's been making a couple of moves this morning, so I had to match him up a little bit.
Yeah, and speaking of those DB Cooper, the defending champs, they are the best team once again here in our fantasy hockey league. Mark Hummon at a record of 10-3 this week. As we said, you currently have a lead 10-7, but since the last time we've talked to everybody here on your show, Raymond is just winning left and right. He beat Dave Snellgrove last week, Pro Etiquette. Dave is yet to find him. A victory against this guy. Mark 5-0 all time against Dave. Dave continues to struggle. That was week 13 of the NHL and the league fantasy hockey. And then the week before that, DB Cooper in week 12 had a big week over Huma, 14-7. Huma, one of the better teams, the third-ranked team, in fact, according to Don Cherry here in our fantasy poll for the league. So DB Cooper, Humming, buddy, not too far behind the Woody Woodpeckers. Mark Wood, he's recently lost 2 out of the last 3, Storky. Week 12, he lost to the Cherry Bombs, the new team this year. And McDavid continues to heat up, 12-7. And then last week, Mark lost to me, 12-5. Hadn't have been humming, buddy. I've been really happy with my squad lately. So that's pretty much up to speed. We discussed our matchup on my commissioner's corner when I beat you 11-7. Any thoughts on that 3 weeks ago, buddy? I know. Did you have that bucket of nails? Did you eat a bucket of nails after that?
Oh, come on, man. You got lucky on Sunday and you know it.
If you recall,
it
was a short week, so you probably could have caught me because I believe Sunday was Christmas Eve and they didn't have any games that day. So
that's right.
I snuck out of there like a DB Cooper heist out of a hijacking of a plane. I took my parachute and I took the money with me, buddy. So I'll take it. You're a tough man to beat, buddy. But let's see what is on tap this week. As we are now already in week 14, Stork, anything standing out to you? Big news today. I believe we just heard that Connor Bedard is out 6 to 8 weeks. He just had surgery on that broken jaw. Any thoughts on that? Takes a big hit. Do you think he still has a shot at winning the Calder?
Well, I mean, he still probably has a shot, but it's a shame that the kid got hurt like that. I think one thing that he's got to learn in the NHL, you got to keep that head up and don't admire passes because you're going to get rocked by some of these guys out there. They don't care if you're Connor Bedard or Connor McDavid. If you put your head down. You're going to get nailed in the NHL, and it's a lesson that I'm sure he's going to remember after this.
And then just recently on Twitter X, I just seen looks like your boy Corey Perry's eligible to sign.
Yeah, my boy.
With some NHL teams. Do you foresee him signing at all this year, or do you think this is a wait and see approach?
No,
for teams.
I mean, unless they announce what exactly happened, which they seem to be continuing to put a lid on it. I don't see. I mean, with his age and everything, and what he has to offer, and what has happened, I don't see any team picking this guy up. I'd be surprised if anybody signs him.
Yeah. So that coupled with what are you thinking? Big storylines here for hockey. We've got the red hot Winnipeg Jets, dude. Who do you think's the best team in hockey since the last time we've talked to you, dude? You got the Vancouver Canucks. A lot of Canadian teams throwing their hat in there. I don't know what the odds are. The Jets have got to be the hottest team lately. I have Connor Hellebuck, so I know from a firsthand experience how hot they've been. Do you think they can keep it going, bro? The Maple Leafs as well.
Well, I mean, with
Canada.
the Jets, I mean, you got to look at their lineup and say, wow, they've got a good balanced team. And I mean, as it stands right now, that LA trade with Dubois has looked pretty nice for the Jets because they got a couple of really good hockey players, and they're making a lot of noise in Winnipeg. The problem with the Jets is long-standing, really, to get players to stay in Winnipeg. But you look at their lineup right now, and they're solid. I mean, they've got a solid up and down lineup from goaltending right up to their first line. It's yeah, they're a solid team, and their record is showing it.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of their games lately due to my goaltenders, Connor Hellebuck. I'm just impressed. They've been playing some not so great teams. I like to see them play some of the upper echelon teams, but they've been red hot. A lot of big storylines today. There's 3 games tonight. We got the Philadelphia Flyers, Montreal Canadiens. Those 2 teams have actually played a lot better than I thought they would this year. That's a nice matchup. Nick, the Colonels, Minnesota Wild, they're starting a goaltender tonight, Jesper Wallstedt, in net. I'm interested to see him, but they're taking on the red-hot Dallas Stars, another team. They already lost to them this week. Wild are banged up. Nick, that's probably why Nick doesn't want to be on here tonight. He's been frustrated. The injury woes continue for the Minnesota Wild. And then we got a banger of a matchup tonight. Vegas Golden Knights on the road against the Colorado Avalanche. Both teams kind of not playing the best, but I tell you what, Nathan McKinnon is leading the league in scoring. The last I checked. What do you think of that guy? Julio picked him 3 overall. Does he have a case for the Hart Trophy, buddy?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Nathan McKinnon is Mr. Consistent when you look at his career. He is definitely a top 3 in the NHL, and he has been for a number of years. And he's got a good cavalcade of players behind him, but he's leading the way for Colorado. He's Mr. Spark. He seems to get the goals and assists when the team needs them. Although Colorado has struggled a little bit, he just continues to shine, and it's no surprise that he's leading the league right now.
I will stand corrected. Nikita Kucherov took the lead, 67 points, but Nate McKinnon,
lead, but he's right there.
Yeah, 66 points for Nate McKinnon, but last time I saw the stats, so Kucherov must have passed him last night. I believe the Bolts came all the way back from 2-0 to beat the LA Kings. And then in third place, the Breadman, Artemi Panarin, 57 points, tied with Pasta and Willie Nylander. Speaking of Willie Nylander, got the bag, buddy. I already forget what the details were, but he is going to be a Maple Leaf. I know you got to be happy. I'm assuming down the road, John Tavares takes a little bit of a discount if he's to remain intact with the core four. But you got to be excited, bro. Did you think they were going to get? I mean, you had to have known they were going to find a way, right?
Well, they wanted him. It was pretty obvious, and obviously Willie wanted to stay in Toronto. He wants to finish his career there. So I mean that says a lot right there. But I mean the state of NHL contracts is going crazy right now. But I mean if you look at the other leagues, you would think, geez, that's not a whole lot. We got some baseball players that go up to bat and they're making like 14, 15 million a year. And this is the lower echelon of players, really. So, I mean, it's about time. I mean, I can't say nothing about his 11.5 8-year deal because in baseball, that would be hardly nothing.
Yeah. So back to the scoring leaders. 3 of those top 5 we mentioned belong to the Washington Wendigo Whalen squad, as he has Kucherov, Panarin, and Pasternak, all worthy of a Hart Trophy nod. And I am playing him this week. But he has been beatable lately. As you look at the Don Cherry rankings, he has dropped to number 4. The way his offense is rolling, that's a kudos to the people in front of the teams in front of him. Real quick, the goal scoring, Stork, before we get back to the rankings. Your boy Austin Matthews, 31 goals, leads the league. He just keeps piling the net. They had a big game, a lot of goals scored against the Sharks last night, I believe. What was it, 7-1? Then you got a guy, Sammy Reinhart. Talk about a guy that's going to get paid 29 goals. This guy's on pace for what, 60? And then Nikita Kucherov, 28. The Breadman, 26. And then Pasta at 25. So that's the Rocket Richard race. McDavid's getting hot. He has 40 points, or 40 assists, excuse me. And then let's give some shout out for the plus minus. Quinn Hughes, a plus 32. As we talked about, the Red Hot Canucks been on an East Coast swing. And let's give some love to some goaltenders if I can find them. I still don't know how to operate this damn. Oh, there we go. Aiden Hill, I believe, is starting tonight after a long injury hiatus. A GAA of 1.93. I believe Scott Lanham with the Nova Fire Brigade. They're starting to creep up, Stork. Watch out for Nova. At least I'll watch out for him. He's in my division. But we just talked about Connor Hellebuck, a GAA of 2.20. Cam Talbot, he's also on my team. Storky, 2.20. He's been struggling with the wins department lately, though. So, and then a guy named Jordy DeCord. He won in the Winter Classic. Thoughts on the Winter Classic, Stork? New Year's Day. What'd you think? Did you even watch it? I watched it. I thought it was a great game. Weather looked awesome. I wish I would have went to.
I watched part of it. I had a lot of things on the plate that day, big family dinner. So, but I got to watch a little bit of it. Not so happy about the uniforms, I got to tell you.
Is that right?
I didn't like either one of them, really.
I actually liked. I didn't mind the Seattle one. I liked the Vegas Golden Knights better. I'm usually a hater on Vegas Golden Knight uniforms. I actually liked them, but to each his own. But I thought it was a really. They're lucky they got that game in. We live in the same area. The next day was a crappy. I had to go back to work after New Year's Day. I remember that being a crappy rainy day. But that day on New Year's Day was epic, and I'm kicking myself in the butt. I mean, I saved some money. Chance of a lifetime. I mean, they're probably gonna have another outdoor game out here, I would imagine, at some point. They've been visiting cities all over the place, at least for a stadium series. So I'll check that out. Shout out to one of my beer league mates, James Hugh. He was able to skate on that rink. They had a Kraken Hockey League, beer league that I'm a part of. They selected 95 of our players in the league, and he got to skate on that. So that would have been a cool opportunity. I had to work, so I never entered my name. But real quick, back to goalie stats, Stork. Your guy, Alexander Gorgiev, leads the league in wins with 22. Hellebuck right behind him with 21. And Sergei Bobrovsky, Julio's goalie at 20, tied with Thatcher Demko 20. So there's a look at some goalie love. Connor Ingham shutouts. He's got 4. Tristan Jarry 4 shutouts. So let's take a look at Don Cherry's rankings, buddy. After 13 weeks, this was the look. We're in week 14 now. The champs. We gave Mark Raymond some hell about his draft. I still think he had a solid team, but nobody thought maybe he'd be the number 1 team. He's just found a way, buddy. He is the number 1 team, I believe, for the 2nd straight week in a row. Mark is to 2, but not too far behind. But the first 10-game winner, DB Cooper, buddy. And Humas, he's been fluttering in between 3 and 5. Julio there, I still think he's been doing a great job. And then Wendigo, I don't think he'll slip too much farther. If Washington, we talked about him all year, if Whalen can get his goaltending under wraps, he is going to be tough to beat. I'm playing him right now. I'm up against it. I'm happy where I'm at. I just can't get over the Whalen hump, dude. What do you think of Cherry's rankings here down below? Storky, number 9. You belong down there, dude. What's going on in Langley country?
I don't know, man. Well, I mean, I went through a bit of a spell, and of course, ever since I threw that game away just before playing you, that really hurt my feelings, and I haven't really recovered from it. I managed to get a tie last week against Nick, and that kind of stopped the bleeding, and I always get it up for DB Cooper. I don't know. I mean, he has some teams that just can't beat the guy, but I seem to be able to handle him. So I'm hoping I can handle him again this week and creep to within 1 game of 500 and then get going again. This is the time of the season where you got to make your moves or you're going to fall behind. But yeah, I mean, those rankings look pretty close. I called Huma to be a top team, and there they are, climbing further and further up. But yeah, I have to agree with Don Cherry's rankings this week.
Yeah, you could argue maybe the Cherry Bombs could be over Adna, but Adna's gotten the best of Cherry Bombs this year, 2-0 versus the new manager, Alex. She's put together a hell of a squad. Yeah, like we said, there's been a few ties here. It's going to be interesting to see if that hurts or helps. Last year it helped for guys like Whalen. Julio barely missed the playoffs. Probably might have hurt him a little bit. But Whalen, it kept him above me. Pro etiquette. He has been struggling. He started the season 5-0. We've talked about his chronicles here. Injuries to Jack Hughes and inconsistent goaltending. I believe he had like 5 goalies last week and ended up with like 220 saves or something. That's ridiculous. Dave isn't. I mean, I guess he has Thatcher Demko. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in Dave Snellgrove. Jack Hughes, Timo Meyer, I guess also. He's put a lot of stock. That's his team captain. So I was talking about you not belonging at number 9. Just crazy to see Probert this low with the team he's got. But you know, Dave, he's won a couple of fantasy championships this year in football already in your league, buddy. Any shout outs to him or anybody from your leagues? I know Dave's not hurting in all facets of fantasy hockey or the fantasy world. He did win some championship gold from your leagues. So shout out to Dave. Thoughts there, Stork?
I mean, he had a good year in football, fantasy football, that's for sure. He's got some good squads. He's in I think 3 of my leagues, and he did well in at least all 3 of them, making the finals and winning championships. But yeah, hats off to Mr. Snellgrove for a great year. And I'm not going to feel sorry for him in fantasy hockey while he's ranked number 8.
Yes, sir. So yeah, once again, yeah, a belated birthday to you. We shouted you out from the league. It was like a birthday week last week. Dave Snellgrove, Pro Etiquette Manager, and Dan Hall. I want to say there's another birthday coming up, if we can recall. Tim Kelly's was in December. We did get him, but yeah, a shout out to all you guys. But yeah, and speaking of Tim Kelly and Dan Hall down there at the bottom, they're 3-10. They've been struggling to even sniff a win lately. And then I'm not sure what Nick's problem is at number 10, the Colonel, but I know we're not feeling sorry too much for him. I know he's had some injuries, but his goaltending's been decent. Connor Ingram and nets. He just can't always seem to press the right buttons with that guy when he's in the crease. But there's Don Cherry's rankings. Be interesting to see the Nova Fire Brigade here. Don't count Scott out. Storky, he's been looking pretty good. Me and him tied a couple weeks ago. That was the other tie. That was my first ever tie. So those are the rankings. We'll see how it goes this week as the action continues. So taking a look at scoreboard watch here. Like we said, the matchup of the week, I believe, went to Nova Fire Brigade and Cherry Bombs. They're at 14-5. We're only at Wednesday, Stork. Alex with the lead. She is 7-4-2. These two tied the first meeting. Like you said, the NHL season's coming on its All-Star break there in Toronto, Stork. I know you're not a big fan of All-Star games, but so the NHL is pretty much at the halfway point. I would say after this week, we're about a third left because we have our rivalry games coming up and then only 2 more interdivision matchups, Ovi versus Gretzky. But we're kind of in the last third of our 21-game regular season. So this would be a big win for Alex if she could get it. That's Don Cherry's matchup of the week. We've got Nick taking on DuPont. Nick's actually had some success, I believe, against Tim. Or no, actually, Tim leads that series. Nick tied you last week, Stork. That was your first ever tie, if I recall. Nick only 4-8-1. He needed that win really bad. DuPont, like we said, at 3-10. We've got Probert Etiquette and Huma. This is a great matchup. Neither one of these guys can afford a long. I mean, Huma's trying to catch the division leader, DB Cooper. But 7-5-1, he's still got a chance. This is kind of a statement game for Dave. Where's he going to go? Which direction's he going at 6-7? But he's got a sizable lead on Huma. Huma's never beaten Dave. 16-3 in that one so far. Dave leads it. The Woodpeckers slide continues. They got probably the best goaltending stable in hockey. He's looking to trade somebody, rumor says. Dan Hall's beating them early, 13-5. There. Dan has yet to get a division win. All 3 wins of the Killer Bunnies, Stork, have come in the other division. Like we said, you have a 10-7 lead over DB Cooper in this rivalry. This would be a huge win for you this week if you could get it. And then I am trailing the Wendigo 10-8. Whalen is yet to start a goalie. He gets Scott Wedgwood in the nets tonight. I already have a shutout in my holster from Hellebuck last night, so I'm excited. But I'm going to have to bring it in the offense, man. 7-5-1 is the Adna Americans record, but haven't lost in quite a long time. It's been 4 weeks, I believe. We did tie Scott 9-9 the other week. So is it 5 weeks? Okay. Stork, anything standing out to you this week here in week 14?
Well, like I said earlier, Jimmy, we're a third of the way through the season. We're running out of games for a lot of teams. It's do or die now if they want to snip that top 6. And I'm one of those teams that has to get it rolling. There's a lot of teams to climb over, and this is the exciting part of fantasy hockey is the last third of the year or last quarter of the year especially. But yeah, wins are at a premium right now. Teams need to get going when there's only 6 teams out of 12 making the playoffs, we're gonna have some heartache. So it's time for you to get your team rolling if you want to snip that playoff.
Sniff it. Let's see. Any other news and notes I haven't forget? In the league pick'ems, buddy, Don Cherry went 5-0 last week with the one push. You also went 5-0 in your picks, buddy. So you and I believe Nick are the best at this little competition we got. Both you and Nick are 41-33, not including the few pushes we've had, the few ties. Don Cherry's only 35-39 in his prediction. So he has not had the greatest of years. I'm terrible at it. I'm 30-44, and Julio's joined us in these little predictions the last 2 weeks, 6-4 there. So there's that little update. We'll keep you abreast of that stuff. In the playoff picture right now, if the playoffs were to start today, obviously DB Cooper and the Woody Woodpeckers, the division leaders, would get the byes. It would be Huma and Adna. Julio's always had my number. And then it would be the Cherry Bombs and Washington Dingo if it was to start today. But it doesn't start today, Stork. It is a few weeks away, actually, a month away and some time and some change. So next week, week 15, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but let's take a look at these Ovechkin versus Gretzky matchups. Adna takes on the Frozen Norseman. You were going to take on that Cherry Bomb squad, first ever meeting. DB Cooper and the Woody Woodpeckers, the two division leaders, go head-to-head next week. I'd like to get them on the show. Probert will take on the Killer Bunnies. That'll be the first ever meeting there. Julio and Scott will go at it. Huma versus Nova Fire Brigade. And then the Washington Wendigo will take on the DuPont Pipe Players. So that's pretty much all the topics I got right now. I know we're probably leaving out a lot of storylines. Anything in the hockey world standing out to you? Shout out to Team USA for winning the World Juniors. Canada, of course, probably didn't have they didn't have Connor Bedard and a bunch of other eligible guys, but they did not bring their best team. But from what I could see, I wish I could watch more of it. It was over in Sweden. I followed a lot of it through some pals' pictures and chronicles over there. It looked like a great event. World Juniors is always cool. Like we said, I think on an earlier show, it's going to be in Minnesota in 2 years, so I would like to probably visit the Colonel for that one. That'd be something to plan in the future. But anything going on in the hockey world, Stork, you'd like to talk about before we wrap it up?
Well, I mean, I'd like to talk about the World Juniors. The U.S. team really played well throughout the whole tournament, and it was a well-deserved win. They beat a very good team in Sweden who were actually favored. If you want to look at a team that's favored, they outplayed them and they played well and they definitely deserved it. As for Canada, they brought a good team too, but Sweden really exposed them on their weaknesses and beat them. And like I said, it was a well-deserved win for the U.S.
Speaking of that U.S. Member of the team, we didn't bring this up. What are your thoughts of Cutter Gauthier, Team USA player? There was a big trade this week, Stork. Said he wasn't going to sign with the Philadelphia Flyers. He was the 5th overall pick a few years ago. Flyers tried to get him signed. They couldn't do it. Said he didn't want to play for him. And they ended up sending him to Anaheim for Jamie Drysdale and a second-round pick, I believe, 2025.
Yes. Yep.
Might have that wrong. But
oh, that's right.
Wow. Kind of shades of backfire of Eric Lindros, or the ghost of Eric Lindros coming.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, when you're a young kid
for this team.
Well, here's the thing. When he got drafted by Philly, he made a statement saying, I was built to be a Flyer, even though he was a Pittsburgh Penguin fan. He said, everything seemed to be fine then. He said he was built to be a Flyer, and then all of a sudden something happened. I don't know, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but he had a complete about face about the whole thing. And now he didn't want to play for the Flyers. So something has happened. We don't know what it is. I don't know if we'll find out exactly what it is. I mean, it seems like, something has happened between them and the Flyer organization. But I'll tell you what, when you got a kid who hasn't played one single game in the NHL doing that stuff, I'll say the same thing that I said about Lindros. He was drafted by the Quebec Nordique, and he should have played for the Quebec Nordique, signed a short contract, and got out of there. These guys are, I'm not going to play there, so I'm going to take my ball and go home. He's going to be ridiculed. This Cutter guy, I don't care how good he becomes, he's going to be a target for a lot of people. And I think the Flyers did fine in getting Drysdale because he's a good young defenseman, and we're going to see him tonight in his debut for Philadelphia. So that'll be exciting. I am going to watch that game because I want to see him in a Flyer uniform. I hate the Flyers, but I like this kid Drysdale. I've liked him for a while. I was kind of sad that he was being buried in Anaheim, where it's really hard to progress your game when you're 21 years old. He's going to get that chance to do that in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I have no love for the Philadelphia Flyers, but I would not want to poke the bear. Every time that kid visits that town, we remember that baseball player J.D. Drew, who refused. I think he got traded to the Cardinals or something. I remember this. He got thrown, and this is a town that boos Santa Claus, Storky. They threw batteries at this guy in the outfield. Cutter Gauthier, hell of a talent. I can see him on your team next year, Stork. Hell, he might be on my team. He's a hell of a talent, though. As far as the Ducks, I don't think they're going to miss a beat. They're going to be a wagon here in a few years. And they, you could say missing out on Drysdale, but they got Olin Zellweger that's going to take his spot here not before too long. So I don't think they're going to miss that D-man at all. In fact, I bet you see Trevor Zegras out of there before you know it because they've got so much talent.
They have a plethora of young talent in Anaheim. It's not because they're a bad team. They're just very, very young and inexperienced. But they've got some blue chip prospects that could make some noise one day, but they're just not ready yet. So Drysdale was expendable, that's for sure.
So if I'm a Ducks fan, though, I'm excited that's going to be pretty good. I guess if you're a Flyers fan, as long as that Drysdale can stay healthy, I agree with everything you've said. We got to see if he's durable enough. A lot of these guys like Jack Hughes been getting banged up here young in their careers. But we'll see. Connor Bedard out 6 to 8 weeks. All the best to him and anybody else in the National Hockey League hurt. There's a lot of injuries out there. Check your waiver wires and start your goaltenders. We're already Wednesday night, Stork. Week 14 of the NHL season is fast and furious. It's exciting for me. I've enjoyed the hell out of this season. Usually this is the doldrums, the dog days, if you will. I know you're not a big fan of the All-Star game, but it's that crappy. We got some crappy snow. I don't know if you're a fan of snow. It's real cold outside, but the hockey's been good. The storylines have been good. I think it's just going to get even better and better by each passing week. So, well, it's been good to talk to you, buddy. We'll try to get our other Yahoos on here to keep the banter. I know there's probably some other stuff I've left out, but just to touch base with Stork here on his show, episode 13. It's been good to talk to you, buddy.
All right, man. Yeah, we'll try to get together next week and get back on. We gotta kind of nail it down because this is some important weeks coming up here for fantasy hockey. So we'll get the boys on there and we'll have a little fest. That's fun. For sure next week.
Yeah, I know a lot of people aren't don't really care about the All-Star game, but get your fantasy players and your representatives from the Leafs, the Capitals, whoever you cheer for. Deadline for the All-Star vote is closing tomorrow. So if you haven't voted for your fantasy players, get them in. A lot of these guys don't really want to go. I know that, but Toronto is a great town to have it in. I think they're going to have some wild stuff. I always like the skills. I know they've cut the skill stuff down. The game, I believe they're doing another draft for it. So we don't even know who the teams are really. But shout out to all those guys that have already made it, and vote the rest of those guys in. But for Kevin Stork, the deputy, I am the mailman, the commissioner, Jamie Milstead. This has been episode 13 of the Storks Desk. Thanks for joining us on this January 10th, 2024. Happy New Year. And Badger Bob always said it's a great day for hockey. Let's enjoy the 3 games that are on tap tonight and enjoy the rest of week 14. And we'll see you next week. Jimmy and Kevin out. See you, Storky.
Take care, man.